Okay, welcome back to this particular project. So I'll show you what's been done since last time. I've fitted this valve block here. I've also replaced both of these with new ones because they were getting worn down, so that's done. I've fitted the track motors, bolted them in, fitted this pipe which is from the header tank which will be going in there. And I've fitted the leak-off pipes to the track motors, which we'll see in a minute. Fitted the subframe here, that's all done. Tapped out this hole and screwed the jack leg or the bolt in to adjust this. That's now fitted where it's got to go. So the next job, I've got some hydraulic fittings to go on. Bought a bag of new fittings that I need. I've got to put those in now onto the tank. The easiest way is to lift this up with the machine and I can get to those. I need to put all the awkward pipes on first and I'll get to them under there. So the easiest thing is just to lift this up on its front. Once I've got all those awkward pipe fittings on, I've got some new pipes to go on. So there'll be a new pipe running from the pump to the tank. I've got two new pipes to go on the ram, which you'll see later on. I've got another new pipe which will be going on the cooling fan. They're all pipes that generally get worn out and are under high pressure, so I thought I'd replace them now rather than use the old ones. These are okay, they're just a bit dusty, but these are all fine as they are. So, yeah, next job, lift this up and get the hydraulic fittings on. So I'll just show you what I've done a bit more close up. New fitting on here, fitted the breather pipe. I've fitted this pipe which is the oil to the pump. So obviously they get connected when the pump's in. Tidied up these pipes here which go to the tracks. What you didn't see is also I've fitted this wiring loom here which goes to 2-speed. Wired the voltage indicator up. This just bridges off of the hour clock. Obviously that's all ready to go. Got the solenoid there for the 2-speed tracking. And then I've obviously fitted this pipe here, which is the leak-off pipe from the right-hand track motor, leak-off pipe from the left-hand track motor. I had to take this one off and redo it because it was round the wrong way. I'd got the swept elbow rather than the compact elbow, so I couldn't put this pipe on. So that's all done. Right, I can lower it down now. And the next job is going to be on top here. I've got to fit the emergency stop, so I've actually got to drill and tap 4 holes for that to sit on. I'm going to do that now. That's another job I can do on this chassis. And then once that's done, I can then move on to the crusher body and get that all specced up ready. Right, let's lower this down and do that. Okay, so the emergency stop's fitted. Obviously it's not wired up yet. That'll be done much later. Not much more I could do on this at the moment. I'm waiting for some parts to come in. I'm waiting for some engine mounts. And then I can put the engine frame on and go from there. So I'm going to move on to this crusher body. Again, there's not a huge amount I could do on this yet. So I'm going to fit the header tank over here. And I'm going to fit the valve block here. But I'm going to not be able to screw it down yet because I need it to be loose to be able to put the pipes on easier from the ram. And I can't fit the ram because the ram is still at the menders. So I can only really fit these 2 items today. And then I'm going to have to just wait until I get some other bits in before I can continue. So let's crack on, let's get the header tank fitted and this valve block and we'll take it from there. Right, so I've got this tank, came out of the original machine. Let's hope everything lines up. Got these bolts, I'm going to use some extra heavy washers on this to make sure it's well held in. Now obviously when I took this tank off I flushed the whole thing out, so that is completely clean inside there now. There's a little bit of dust in there but that won't hurt. So I just need to make sure that I put a good seal on that when I put it back in. And then as this is lowered down onto the frame, I've got to make sure I get the header tank pipe to just come into here. As I say, I've got to fit the ram on this before I drop it in. It's much easier to get to the pipes at the back of them. Right, that's that fitted. Straightforward enough. Valve block. Right, so the valve block would sit there like that. Now, what I like to do is I like to fit a rubber base. Now the purpose of that, if in here gets too full up of stuff, as the curvature plate comes back, it puts a lot of pressure on this and this plate will actually bulge. And what then happens is if there's no cushion between this and this will eventually crack. I've had several of these actually crack open, which is a disaster really because these are specially made, they're quite expensive. I've been getting these made out of steel rather than aluminium as well. But I find just by putting a bit of a cushion under like that, it does help. This is just a bit of old conveyor belt I've cut and just drilled it out. So you're not going to see that, but that will sit there like that. I'm going to put the fittings in the back there, but just hand tighten them. These two will go onto the ram and then I've got the feed in and the feed out. You have to put these two on first. You can't put this one on and then do those because you can't get to these, so these have to be done first. So let's put the fittings on there next. As part of this bag of stuff I picked up yesterday, there's all new fittings. So I'm just going to hand tighten them. No point in going mad. Hopefully it's given me the right quantity. I did many years ago had a problem with these valve blocks. These were leaking, and back in the day I used to have a professional hydraulic company come out. I won't name the company, it's a national company, nationwide, and they came out and put totally the wrong seal on it, which blew straight away. And then they put another seal on, which blew. Didn't solve the problem, and I still ended up with a bill of 300 quid. So subsequently I don't use them, and I fix it myself. And I know what seals needed. But it was a real nuisance because I went through a spate of having to replace all of these at the same time. Which wasn't good. Okay, right, I've got to leave that there now because I don't want to put this one on just yet. Got to fit the top to that tank. And then say get the ram in, which I'll poke in from there, put all the fixings on down the bottom, and then I can lift this crusher body onto the frame. Once I've done that, I can start connecting the other two hydraulic pipes up. I've got one to go to the pump, and obviously return feed to the valve block. Got the front plate to put in, I can do that as well. I've got all some fixings for that. Got a couple of roller bearings to go in here. The jaw's being worked on as we speak. Then I can lower the jaw in, but I can't connect the rod up until I've got the engine in and the hydraulics working. So that's going to be further on down the line. But for the moment, that's as far as I can get. There's going to be a bit of a break from this now because I've got some other projects on the go, which you'll see later on. There's a few things going on with the existing fleet. Anyway, that's as far as I've got so far. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.